You've heard of scandals that shook kingdoms, but this one, it wasn't a war, or a treaty, or even an assassination. It was a necklace, an enormous, hideous, diamond-dripping chandelier of a necklace, and the rumor that Marie Antoinette wanted it. She didn't. She hated it. She never touched it. But none of that mattered. By the time the story was finished, her reputation was ruined, Paris was laughing, and France was sharpening the guillotine. And you're standing right there in Versailles, perfume in your nose, gossip in your ears, watching history's messiest catfish scam blow up into a revolution. You enter Versailles like everyone does, with your jaw halfway to the marble floor. The place is absurd. Gold leaf everywhere. Mirrors so polished you can see your own pores. Chandeliers dripping from the ceiling like they're competing with the stars. Versailles isn't a palace. It's a flex. It's Louis XIV's big "look at me. I am the sun" energy, preserved decades after his death. And you're already lost. Every hallway looks the same, and the smell, oh, the smell. It's not what you expect. No, it doesn't smell like sweat and sewage. Versailles is practically drowning in perfume. Rosewater, ambergris, lavender, musk. So much fragrance that your nose can't decide if it's in heaven or choking. But don't let the sweetness fool you. All that perfume is just an olfactory mask, because plumbing here is a myth. Nobles relieve themselves in stairwells, gardens, and random corners, and nobody blinks. Versailles is glamorous until you slip on aristocratic piss in the Hall of Mirrors. Still, you keep your footing, because there's gossip to catch. Versailles runs on gossip the way Paris runs on bread. And right now, the gossip target number one is Marie Antoinette. You hear it in whispers behind fans, murmured between powdered wigs, muttered in the long corridors while courtiers shuffle into place for yet another ritual of watching the king eat soup. Everyone seems to have a complaint about the queen. She spends too much money. She doesn't care about the people. She's foreign, Austrian, Can't trust Austrians. She has lovers. She doesn't have enough lovers. She hates France. She doesn't even like cheese. It doesn't matter if any of it's true. Truth isn't the point. Versailles is one big rumor factory, and Marie Antoinette is its most profitable product. You see her occasionally, a flash of pale silk sweeping through a corridor, a diamond hair ornament catching the light, a laugh that's either enchanting or irritating depending on who you ask. She's young, only in her early 20s, but she already wears her role like armor. Chin high, expression unreadable, smile calculated. She is beautiful, yes, but in the way porcelain is beautiful. Flawless, cold, and easy to break. The French never gave her a chance. She arrived from Austria at 14, married off to Louis Auguste, the painfully shy dauphin who would become Louis XVI. Versailles wanted a queen who would be French, dignified, maternal, modest. Instead, they got a teenager who loved fashion, parties, and gambling. Someone who turned her hair into a sky-high construction project and built her own mini-village, the Petit Trianon, just so she could play shepherdess without smelling actual sheep. And the nobles? They hated her for it. Not because of the money, they wasted more than she did, but because she didn't play the Versailles game. She skipped boring court rituals, ignored old ladies who wanted curtsies, and chose her friends like a normal person instead of a political one. In a court where survival meant being a professional brown-noser, Marie Antoinette's refusal to grovel came off as arrogance. So the rumors stuck. Madame Deficit. Lautrichian. A nasty pun that turned her Austrian origin into the Austrian bitch. Even when France's debt came from generations of wars and bad kings, everyone pointed to her gambling table, her dresses, her supposed diamond obsession. And this is where you realize the irony. Marie Antoinette didn't even like jewelry that much. She liked dresses. Yes. Hairstyles. Absolutely. Theater. Gambling. Private soirees. All her jam. But diamonds? She wasn't obsessed. She'd actually once refused to buy a certain enormous necklace, saying it was too expensive and too gaudy, which makes what's coming next absolutely delicious. Because Versailles is a pressure cooker, and everyone's reputation is fragile. One rumor can destroy you. One misstep can exile you from court. And Marie Antoinette, young, flashy, foreign, and already hated, is sitting on a mountain of resentment just waiting for someone to light the match. You linger near a group of ladies fanning themselves in the Hall of Mirrors. They're dissecting the queen's last outing like vultures on a carcass. She wore feathers again. Feathers. As if she's some actress. She laughed during Massachusetts. I saw it myself. I heard she's in debt to her jeweler. Thousands of livres. Ha! That's nothing. I heard she's in debt to the entire kingdom. Every word stings, not because it's true, but because it fits the image of her that people want to believe. Versailles is glittering, yes, but underneath the gold leaf and powdered wigs, it's a house of cards. And Marie Antoinette is the queen everyone's waiting to topple. You pass through salons where men argue politics. They talk about debt, about America's war for independence draining France's coffers, about bread prices in Paris skyrocketing. Someone mutters that the king is weak, that the queen is the real power, that she's leading France to ruin. Never mind that Louis XVI spends his evenings tinkering with locks instead of ruling. It's easier to blame his glamorous, foreign wife, and you start to feel it. The tension, the sense that this isn't just a court full of gossips. This is a nation sharpening its knives. At night, Versailles glows with candlelight. The queen throws private parties at her Petit Trianon, away from the stinking crowds of courtiers. She laughs with her close friends, dances, plays cards until dawn. To her, it's escape. To the outside world, it's evidence of her frivolity, her detachment, her supposed decadence. You sip a glass of champagne you definitely weren't supposed to steal and think. This place is a circus. The court pretends to adore her in public, then slanders her in private. Pamphlets circulate in Paris. Obscene little booklets accusing her of everything from lesbian orgies to bankrupting the nation. Some are laughably fake, but people believe them anyway. Truth and gossip are indistinguishable. You look at the queen one last time that night. She's laughing, her diamonds catching the candlelight. She has no idea what's coming, because soon, someone is about to dangle the most extravagant necklace in Europe in front of Versailles. And when the scam detonates, it won't just tarnish her reputation. It will scorch it. The affair of the diamond necklace is about to make Marie Antoinette the most hated woman in France. And you'll be there to watch it unfold. You think Versailles is chaotic? Wait until you meet the people outside the palace, the ones circling the glittering beast and scheming how to bite off a piece. Enter Jeanne de la Motte. If Versailles is a stage, Jeanne is the understudy who's sick of waiting for her big break. She's technically a descendant of the Valois royal line, but that's like saying you're Beyoncé's cousin because your grandma once danced in the same state as Destiny's Child. Nobody at court takes her seriously. She's broke, ambitious, and hungry, not for bread, but for status. And she's smart, not book smart, not philosophy of Voltaire smart. She's survival smart. She knows people are vain, gullible, desperate to believe whatever flatters them. She's made a life out of squeezing money and favors out of whoever underestimates her. One evening in Paris, while the salons chatter about the queen's new gown, Jeanne is scheming. She has a husband who's basically furniture, a lover who's basically useful, and a plan that's insane enough to work. But for her con to succeed, she needs the perfect mark. Someone rich, gullible, and desperate for approval. Someone who believes they're smarter than everyone else, but isn't. And she finds him. Meet Cardinal de Rohan. You spot him instantly. Plump, powdered, drowning in lace, and reeking of ambition. He's not just any priest. He's the Cardinal de Rohan, one of the most powerful clerics in France. But power in Versailles isn't about God. It's about gossip. And Rohan has a problem. Marie Antoinette hates his guts. Why? Because years ago, Rohan trashed her mom. Back when he was ambassador to Vienna, he wrote nasty things about Empress Maria Theresa, Marie Antoinette's mother. Big mistake. When your boss's daughter becomes queen, and she knows you insulted her mom. Yeah, you're cooked. So now Rohan is desperate. Desperate to get back into Marie Antoinette's good graces. Desperate enough to do something stupid. And Jeanne? She smells weakness like a wolf smells blood. She approaches Rohan with the confidence of someone who knows she's about to win the lottery. She tells him she has connections, that she's close with the queen. Not just close, trusted. You know, she whispers, fan hiding her smile. Her Majesty still speaks of you. She wishes things were different. Rohan's ears practically wiggle. The Queen? Speaking of him? After years of cold shoulders and disdain? His pride leaps like a fish on a hook. Jeanne reels him in. Slowly, carefully. She writes letters, from the Queen, full of forgiveness and tenderness. She has Rohan convinced that the Queen secretly wants reconciliation but must keep it discreet. She signs them with little hearts and flourishes, as if Marie Antoinette is a 1780s teenager passing notes in class. And Rohan falls for it, completely. You're watching a cardinal, one of the highest-ranking men in the Catholic Church, getting catfished by a scammer who probably giggles every time she seals a fake letter with wax. But Jeanne doesn't stop there. She escalates. She hints that the Queen has a problem, a personal problem, that Louis XVI is cold, distant, that the Queen longs for romance, passion, friendship, that maybe, just maybe, Cardinal Rohan himself could be the solution. Rohan nearly faints. Him? The Queen's secret confidant? Maybe even her secret lover? His ego inflates so hard you can practically hear it creak. But Jeanne knows words alone won't seal the deal. No, she needs something tangible, a performance. So she arranges a midnight meeting in the gardens of Versailles. Picture it, the moonlight spilling across hedges trimmed within an inch of their lives, the sound of fountains gurgling, the smell of roses mixing with stale perfume. And in the shadows, Rohan waits, sweating under his lace cuffs, heart pounding like he's a teenager sneaking out on prom night. Then, she appears. A woman in a dress, veiled, elegant, gliding like royalty. She carries herself with the practiced grace of Versailles. Rohan drops to his knees. Your Majesty, he breathes. The woman lifts her veil. It's not Marie Antoinette. It's a prostitute hired by Jeanne, who vaguely resembles the Queen if you squint and drink half a bottle of wine. But Rohan doesn't squint. He doesn't think. He doesn't question why the Queen of France would meet him in the bushes like a lovesick teenager. He just believes. She gives him a rose, a token, a sign of affection. Rohan practically combusts with joy. Jeanne has done it. She's convinced the cardinal that the Queen secretly adores him. But she's not finished. Oh no, she's just warming up. Because now she brings in the final prop, the necklace. This isn't just any necklace. It's the most necklace. A monstrosity of diamonds, designed years earlier for Louis XV's mistress. Hundreds of carats, sparkling like it could blind you, strung together in a creation so gaudy that even Versailles might blush. The thing is worth a fortune, enough to fund a small war, or, in France's case, to buy bread for thousands of starving peasants. The jewelers who made it have been stuck with it for years. Nobody wanted to buy it. Even Louis XVI thought it was too much. And this is a guy who thought wearing silk hunting jackets was casual wear. But Jeanne knows how to spin it. She tells Rohan that the Queen wants the necklace, desperately, that she wants it as a gift to win back the king's affection, that she cannot, of course, buy it publicly. Imagine the scandal. So she needs someone discreet, someone loyal, someone already proven to be her secret confidant. Guess who? Rohan doesn't hesitate. He believes every word. He agrees to arrange the purchase of the necklace on behalf of the Queen. In his mind, this is the ultimate gesture, the move that will not only restore him to her favor but make him her hero. He pictures the moment. Marie Antoinette, radiant, clasping the necklace around her pale neck, whispering, "Thank you, my dearest Rohan. You alone understood me. And you, standing in the corner of history, can barely keep a straight face. A cardinal, a scammer, a fake queen in the bushes, and the most expensive necklace in Europe. It's like Versailles decided to host its own reality show. Catfish, Royal Edition, and the best part? None of this involves Marie Antoinette. She has no idea. She's out there gambling, laughing with her friends, twirling in her ridiculous gowns, completely oblivious that her name is being dragged into the con of the century. But soon, she'll find out. And when she does, the entire kingdom will explode. You've seen Versailles at its glittering peak. You've met Jeanne the scammer and Rohan the gullible cardinal. And now you're about to watch one of the dumbest, most expensive heists in history. Picture this. The necklace. It isn't subtle. It isn't tasteful. It isn't even wearable, unless your goal is to scream, asterisk, hi. I'm the GDP of a small country and I hang around your neck. Asterisk hundreds upon hundreds of diamonds, dripping down in clusters, like someone tried to turn an entire jewelry store into a single piece. It's not fashion. It's a chandelier with delusions of grandeur. The jewelers are desperate to sell it. They've sunk years and money into this monstrosity, and nobody wants it. Not Louis XVI, not his father before him, not even Marie Antoinette, who, and this is delicious irony, actually thought it was ugly. But to Rohan, the necklace is perfect, the ultimate offering, the holy grail of, please forgive me, your majesty. And Jeanne de la Motte knows it. She orchestrates everything, pulling the strings like a smug little puppet master. Her plan is absurdly simple. Asterisk convince Rohan the queen wants the necklace. Asterisk make him act as the middleman. Asterisk pocket the diamonds. Step 3 is where the scam sings. One hot August evening, in a room away from prying eyes, the transaction goes down. You can almost hear the drum roll. Rohan arrives, puffed up in his cardinal's robes, practically glowing with self-importance. He thinks he's about to be the hero who restores the queen's honor, the man who delivers her the necklace she secretly craves. The jewelers bring the chest. They open it. The diamonds blaze like captured stars, throwing light across the walls. Even you, standing there in your imagination, feel a little dizzy. It's obscene. Rohan signs the agreement. He's paying, or rather, guaranteeing payment, on behalf of the queen. He thinks she'll reimburse him once she receives the jewels. After all, how could she not? He's saving her reputation, her marriage, maybe even her crown. He hands the chest over to Jeanne's accomplice. She promises it will be delivered straight to the queen. Rohan beams like a man who's just written his own redemption arc. But here's the truth. That chest isn't going anywhere near Marie Antoinette. Jeanne and her husband tear into it like children on Christmas morning. The diamonds are dismantled, smuggled out, sold off piece by piece. Sparkling fortunes trickle into their hands. Meanwhile, Rohan struts around Versailles with the smugness of someone who thinks he's the star of a romance novel. He waits for the queen's secret gratitude, her smile, her whispered thanks. He's practically rehearsing the moment she takes his hand and says, asterisk, you've saved me. Asterisk, but days pass. No word. No thank you. No secret message. Rohan starts to sweat. Because here's the problem. You can forge letters, you can hire lookalikes, you can steal diamonds, but you can't control time. And time is ticking. The jewelers want their money. Rohan promised it. And when payments don't arrive from the queen, because, shocker, she never asked for the necklace, they go to the palace directly. Imagine the scene. Jewelers bowing before the king and queen, politely asking when Her Majesty plans to pay for the massive diamond necklace she just bought. Silence. Confusion. Marie Antoinette blinks. Louis XVI blinks. What necklace? She asks. And suddenly, Versailles is on fire. The king demands answers. The queen demands answers. The jewelers insist Rohan bought it in her name. Rohan insists he was acting for the queen. Jeanne insists she knows nothing. Everyone points fingers. Papers are produced, letters are examined, and the whole rotten scam unravels in the most public, humiliating way possible. You watch it happen like an audience member at the world's juiciest reality show. Marie Antoinette is livid, not just because she's been dragged into a con she had nothing to do with, but because this is exactly what her enemies have always wanted. Proof that she's greedy, proof that she's manipulative, proof that she's capable of betraying the kingdom for her own vanity. Never mind that she never touched the necklace, never wanted it, never even saw it. The story sticks. The affair of the diamond necklace explodes across France. Pamphlets spread the scandal like wildfire. In the streets of Paris, people snicker. The queen, caught buying diamonds behind the king's back. For Jeanne, it's payday. For Rohan, it's ruin. For the jewelers, it's bankruptcy. And for Marie Antoinette, it's the beginning of the end. The day the jewelers bring their complaint to Versailles, you can feel the palace air change. Versailles has always been a theater, but now it's a courtroom, a crime scene, and a gossip rag rolled into one. The jewelers bow, stammering. They insist. The necklace was delivered. The cardinal said it was for the queen. Where is our payment? Louis XVI turns to Marie Antoinette. His face is pale, and for once, the king's usual lock-mending, clock-tinkering brain is fully engaged. Did you authorize this? He asks. Marie Antoinette's voice is sharp enough to cut glass. No, I never even wanted the damned necklace. The room freezes. And you're standing there, second-hand embarrassed for everyone. Because the king and queen have just realized they've been dragged into someone else's scam, and it is not a good look. Rohan is summoned. Imagine it. A grand procession, the cardinal in all his finery, confident that this is finally the day his loyalty will be recognized. He probably rehearsed a speech in his head. Instead, he gets hit with a royal gotcha. Louis XVI demands, "Explain yourself." Rohan, sweaty but still clinging to dignity, insists, "I was serving the queen. I have the letters. I acted on her behalf." He produces the forged love notes Jeanne had written. The queen grabs them, reads them, and nearly explodes. "These are forgeries," she snaps, "and you're a fool." At that moment, Rohan's world collapses. The king orders him arrested, in front of the entire court, on the queen's birthday, no less. The Hall of Mirrors has seen plenty of drama, but nothing quite as humiliating as a cardinal in handcuffs. You can almost hear the gasps. Nobles hiding, behind fans, whispering lips, eyes darting. Versailles is eating it up, but the palace is just the beginning. The moment the scandal leaks, Paris goes wild. Pamphlets hit the streets. Printers crank out broadsheets faster than bakers crank out loaves. And that's saying something, considering bread is the lifeblood of France. The headlines are merciless. The queen and her secret necklace. Madame Deficit's diamonds. The lusts of Marie Antoinette. It doesn't matter that Marie Antoinette never touched the necklace. Doesn't matter that she hated the thing. The people don't want truth. They want a story that confirms what they already believe. And what they believe is that the queen is vain, greedy, and out of touch while they starve. You hear it in the taverns. She spends millions on diamonds while my children eat mud. She'll bankrupt us all with her jewels. She's whoring around with the cardinal. The conspiracy theories pile higher than the wigs at Versailles. Louis XVI, in his infinite wisdom, not much, decides the scandal is too big to sweep under a gilded rug. He orders a full investigation, a trial. Where? The Parliament of Paris, which is basically asking the biggest courtroom in France and the hungriest for drama to decide whether the Queen of France is guilty of fraud. Great idea, Louis. Really stabilizing. You're seated among the buzzing crowd as the trial begins. Every day it feels less like a courtroom and more like an opera. Rohan sits there looking wounded and noble. Jeanne de la Motte sits there smirking, draped in borrowed elegance. The queen doesn't even appear in person, but her reputation is the one truly on trial. The forged letters are brought in. Experts squint at the handwriting, debate whether it's feminine enough. Witnesses testify. The fake queen's stand-in, that prostitute who handed Rohan the rose in the garden, admits she was hired for a masquerade. Gasps ripple through the chamber. Rohan insists he was duped, that he acted only out of devotion. His lawyers play the sympathy card hard. How could such a pious man be guilty of fraud? Jeanne, meanwhile, tries to twist the narrative. She paints herself as a victim, a pawn, a poor woman dragged into schemes bigger than herself. And the queen? She can't defend herself. She isn't allowed to. She sits in Versailles, seething, helpless, while Paris dissects her character like vultures around a corpse. Finally, after months of spectacle, the Parliament delivers its ruling. Cardinal de Rohan? Acquitted. Set free. The people cheer. They love the idea of the underdog cardinal outsmarting the scheming queen. Never mind that he was gullible enough to get catfished by a scammer. Jeanne de la Motte? Convicted, but not for long. She's branded with a V, frivolous, thief, and locked up. Eventually, she escapes, flees to London, and spends the rest of her life trash-talking Marie Antoinette in best-selling pamphlets. Asterisk the queen? Technically innocent, officially cleared, but in the court of public opinion, guilty, forever guilty. Because here's the thing, the verdict doesn't matter. What matters is the story people choose to believe. And the people believe the queen wanted that necklace. That she schemed, seduced, and lied to get it. That she is everything they feared. Greedy, corrupt, foreign, poisonous to France. It's over for her reputation. Back in Versailles, you see it in her face. Marie Antoinette isn't just angry. She's devastated. She begged Louis to punish Rohan more severely, to exile him, to make an example of him. But the acquittal has humiliated her in front of the entire nation. The pamphlets only get worse. They draw her with diamonds dripping down her bare chest. They nickname her Madame Deficit louder than ever. They accuse her of bankrupting France to fund her vanity, her lovers, her secret cabals. And you realize, this wasn't just a scandal. This was a spark. The affair of the diamond necklace didn't just ruin her reputation. It turned her into a symbol of everything the French people hated. When bread riots sweep Paris, people shout her name. When revolutionaries gather, they wave pamphlets from this very scandal. When the guillotine finally rises in the square, you can trace a direct line back to this moment. This necklace, this ugly, gaudy, over-the-top necklace, helped topple a monarchy. And you were there, smelling the perfume, hearing the whispers, watching the whole thing unravel. You're still in Versailles, but the shine has dulled. The chandeliers glitter the same, the mirrors reflect the same gilded faces. But you can feel it. The current has shifted. The affair of the diamond necklace is officially over. The courts have spoken. The cardinal is free. Jeanne is branded and gone. The queen has been cleared. On paper, the scandal is closed. But you know better, because outside these walls, Paris is buzzing. In the taverns, they laugh about the queen and her diamonds. In the streets, they chant Madame Deficit while bread prices skyrocket. The truth, that she never touched the necklace, is irrelevant. What matters is the story people want to believe. And they believe she's guilty. You look at Marie Antoinette, sitting straighter than ever, chin tilted up, eyes hard as glass. She's fighting to project dignity, but you can see the cracks. For years, she's been the target of gossip, pamphlets, whispers. But this was different. This was public humiliation, splashed across every corner of France. The queen has become a character in her people's imagination. Greedy, scheming, foreign, poisonous, and no trial can acquit her of that. Fast forward a few years, and you're not in Versailles anymore. You're in Paris, where the air stinks of sweat, smoke, and revolution. Crowds march with pikes' heads roll in the square. And when Marie Antoinette climbs the scaffold in 1793, you hear the jeers of the crowd. Some shout about tyranny, some about Austria, but more than a few still mutter about diamonds, about a necklace she never even wore. And you realize the absurd truth. One ugly, gaudy piece of jewelry helped kill a queen, not because of its value, but because of its story. You were there at Versailles, when perfume masked piss, when gossip was more powerful than truth, when a scammer and a gullible cardinal wrote the script for a nation's rage. You watched the match strike, and now, standing in the flames of revolution, you know how much damage a single spark can do. History isn't just battles and treaties. Sometimes it's a necklace. Sometimes it's a scam. Sometimes it's a queen who never stood a chance. And you've walked through it all.